TFA fam, welcome in. It is
Mhm.
Wednesday night. Means we're back again for another edition of Start Sit Live Q&A, where we answer all of your questions. Already got some questions in the chat. Happy to see people here. So, without further ado, let's just get to the good stuff.
Let's do it.
Brew Neal. Which two should I start at flex? Shakir, Brian Thomas, Scary Terry, Zamir White, Tyler Johnson, full PPR.
I'm gonna go. With the first two. Shakir and Brian Thomas Jr. Debating between BTJ and Zamir White, but given it's a full PPR, I lean BTJ.
Yeah, it's really hard to trust Zamir White at this point, as bad as he's been. I mean, this should be the best spot he's in.
Yeah.
But you never know. Maybe the Red Rockets got a little something in them. You know, to see this team play a little more motivated. I don't know, but
can't get much worse.
No, it can't get any worse. I don't think. But I think I'd probably agree. I'd probably go Shakir and BTJ or Brian Thomas. It just worries me a little bit with Shakir just because how below the passing volume has been so far for them. And so, but at the same time, I think those are your probably two best options that you have here.
Yeah.
I think Zamir White would be the other one you'd look at. Harold, speaking of Zamir White, would you go with Zamir White, Hubbard, or Mostert if he plays non-PPR things? I would go with Zamir White.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Zamir White. Close to me between him and Hubbard.
Harold again, what's up? Lost Cup and AJ Brown, Demarcus Robinson, Quentin Johnson, Judy, Deontay Johnson, Josh Naylor are all options. Not good, but not much out here. Non-PPR too. I would probably go with Demarcus Robinson here.
Yeah, me too. That's where I'm at. I feel like none of these wide receivers have a high touchdown ceiling. So I feel like the next best thing is going to be yards. And I feel like Demarcus Robinson probably has the best shot at the most yards.
I think it's between him and Deontay Johnson for me.
Yeah. I don't want to chase Quentin Johnson. Don't want to chase Judy. Don't want to chase Josh Naylor.
Yeah. And it does possibly sounds like maybe Jordan Addison might be back.
Yeah.
Not good at fantasy. AR and Charbonnet for Lamar. It's going to be a no for me.
No. I don't think I would do it either.
I feel like it's an overreaction to the 1 week of, this last game, but I think obviously there are better days ahead. I mean, for the most part, Anthony Richardson has been a fantasy machine in terms of being able to put up points. So
yeah,
last week was just kind of gross in the gross type of game, very slow paced type game last week. I wouldn't expect that moving forward. And then with Kenneth Walker being out, not really sure how long he's going to be out at this point. It seems like it's going to be a multi-week thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Charbonnet played pretty much every snap, got every touch. Like, he is worth way more than that. And so I wouldn't do that at all.
If I'm going to do that, I want something back with Lamar.
Yeah.
Like Anthony Richardson, Lamar, very much in the same vein. And it's not the difference of an RB2.
I agree. Alejandro, McLaurin or Deontay? I'm gonna go Deontay here.
Deontay for me as well. What could go wrong?
Will MIZ got a little Vandy this weekend. DJ Moore or Jalen Waddle. It's gonna be DJ Moore for me.
Yep. With you. We're agreeing too much so far.
I know. Hunter Jacobs, AJ for Gibbs Rice. I want the Jacobs AJ side.
Damn. Thought we were finally going to be different. Actually, you know what? Give me Gibbs and Rice. Just because at this point I wouldn't want to buy someone who had that hamstring injury pop up. So that's going to be the deciding factor for me.
Rest of season running back, Kyron Williams or Josh Jacobs, half-point PPR. For me at this point, I think it's Josh Jacobs. I just don't love this offense. The Rams are also now missing 3 of their starting offensive linemen. You're without Kupp, you're without Puka. Like, this offense could look really bad. Really, he's been kind of saved so far, Kyron, by those 2 touchdowns that he's able to score in each week. Or else, his week was like even worse. And so, Josh Jacobs right now is the absolute workhorse in this backfield. They just placed Marshawn Lloyd on IR. Obviously, AJ Dillon's out for the year. Like, it's looking like this could be a true workhorse role in this offense. You have Jordan Love actually returned to practice today, and so maybe he's able to play this week. If he is, that kind of changes the dynamic of this entire offense, obviously. But even either way, he should be back for the next week or 2, even if he doesn't play this week. But so I prefer Josh Jacobs at this point.
I'm gonna go Kyron. I think it's obviously the situation with the offensive lineman isn't ideal, but he's also getting the workhorse touches, and I think he has a higher receiving ceiling than Josh Jacobs does, especially with the injuries that they have with their wide receiver group right now. So I'm going to go Kyron. Sorry, Anton.
How's it going, guys? I have Keaton Mitchell on IR and just picked up Jonathan Brooks off the waiver. Love that. Now I see Adam Thielen available. Which should be good with Dalton? Who should I drop for Thielen? Nobody. I don't want Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
We like, I do think this offense is going to be better with Andy Dalton. We have to remember, though, Andy Dalton's 36 years old, hadn't started in 2 years. The last time that he did start, I think he threw for like 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, something like that. Like, he wasn't great. Like, he's functional. Let's put it that way, compared to what Bryce Young was. And I still think Deontay is going to be the leading wide receiver here. And if there was a wide receiver that I wanted to pick up that I just think that a speculative ad off from the Panthers, I think it would be Xavier Legette. Like, he's kind of flashed a little bit, but they just haven't had anything a resemblance of an offense now. And so, like, he would probably be the guy that I would want to target the most.
Yeah,
if I was going to do that. And love the Jonathan Brooks off waivers. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god, how many times am I clicking? Sorry, I missed the ROS part.
There McLaurin or Deontay rest of the season?
Oh, we want to know rest of season. Okay. You know what worries me the most about the Commanders isn't necessarily Jaden Daniels. It's Cliff Kingsbury. It's just the way they're running this offense, and it's they're running a horizontal air raid, not a vertical air raid. Like, everything is very short distance, get it out of the ball in his hands really quickly. They're not allowing him to go through any progressions or reads. Like, it feels really gross. And like Cliff Kingsbury, once again, probably showing why he got fired from the Arizona Cardinals. And so it just has me worried a little bit about these pass catchers here. I mean, McLaurin should be seeing a massive target share with the offense they have, and he's not. And so it really kind of concerns me. So as much as, it's still the Panthers, I think Deontay here is in a better spot than what McLaurin is at this point, unless something changes.
Yeah, it pains me to say, if you would have asked me this, even after like week 1, say after week 1, we still had to switch it at quarterback, I still would like, what, give me McLaurin. But I don't know, man. I have the same reservations that you do. So also begrudgingly going to go Deontay.
Chip.
So
AT,
Chip.
start 2 PPR flex, Singletary, Demarcus Robinson, Mooney, Conkey, or Cam Akers to mix things out. I'm going to go with Texans have the Vikings, right? Right? Pretty positive on that. Like 95% positive on that.
Yes.
So the thing that worries me a little bit is the Vikings do have a really good run defense. They typically do a really good job against the run. I think I would go Singletary and Darnell Mooney. I kind of mentioned him last night in the wide receiver show. If people haven't watched that, the wide receiver ranking show. But I feel like Trey McDuffie is going to see a lot of Drake London, which I think then just kind of opens things up naturally for Darnell Mooney. So I do really like Darnell Mooney this week.
I'm going to go Mooney and Robinson. Don't love the matchup for Singletary. Don't love the matchup for Akers. Vis-a-vis deduction. Give me those 2.
Over on Twitch, JBU 907. Should I trade Aaron Jones, Jameson Williams for Saquon? Yes.
Yep, I would too. Think you might be able to squeeze a little bit. I wouldn't get greedy. Maybe just like a high upside bench type of player.
What's up? Would you guys trade Ridley for ETN? And if so, I have an offer to trade my Ramondre for Olave. Would you do that if you got ETN? I would trade Ridley for ETN.
Yeah, I feel like that Tennessee offense is going to be hard to trust. And then I would also do the Ramondre for Olave.
That really worries me. That one does. I know they've had some pretty good scripts to start, but it's really hard to come by the type of workload that he saw or that he's seeing right now. But I also really want to get pieces of this Saints offense. I don't think they're not going to score this many points every single week, but I think the way this offense is running, I don't think that it's a fluke either. And so I do want to try to acquire, as much of this offense as I can. And so I think I would do that.
Yeah, I just think that eventually they're not going to be in these tight games to where they're going to be able to just hand it off to Ramondre 20 plus times.
Yeah. Should I drop Chase Brown or should I hold on to him? I think it would depend vastly on who that is. Like, who are you dropping him for? But I don't want to. He's one of the few guys that, like, if something happens to Zach Moss, then he becomes a top 20 running back. It's these situations that we actually know what's going on, right? Like, or we know who that backup is. Like, if you look at like the Chiefs situation, I guess there's some there's some level of what could happen there, or the Texans situation right now. Is it Dameon Pierce? Is it Cam Akers? This situation, it's going to be Chase Brown. Like, if the Jets, if Bryce Hall goes down, we know it's going to be Braylon Allen. Like, these are the handcuffs that I want. Like, I don't want the ones that were going to be very ambiguous to understand who those guys are going to be and who's going to get those touches. And so Chase Brown, and honestly, if you look at some of the production so far through 2 games, Chase Brown has actually been on a per touch basis way more efficient than Zach Moss is. And so there's still a scenario that he overtakes Zach Moss if Zach Moss doesn't figure things out. Because let's be honest, outside of that first 4-week run or whatever he had with the Colts last year, other than that, Zach Moss has been terrible in his career.
Yeah, and I knew it was bad, but I just looked it up. Zach Moss is tied for and not that yards per carry is the end all be all or the running back stat that we should be hanging our hats on and making judgments and decisions on, but he is tied for the 12th lowest yards per carry among, I guess, this is all rusher, like anyone who has a rushing attempt. So it's also including quarterbacks and wide receivers, anyone who's logged a rushing attempt, but still, everyone below him is a running back as well. The 12th lowest at 3.7 yards per carry.
Also, for my flex, should I start Zamir or DeMarcus Robinson? I have Shakir as my wide receiver 3 as well. It's one we're not probably going to agree with. I would go Zamir White here, and you'd go to Marcus Robinson.
Yeah.
You know who I picked up this week in my, not that anybody cares, but my home league? I picked one out, and this made me think of it because we keep seeing DeMarcus Robinson as Jordan Whittington. Like, I think he could end up being the guy from this, like, the big winner here. He was really, and I know you've talked a lot about him too. But he is really in preseason, like I know it's preseason, but still, like he balled out in preseason. There's been a lot of talk that he's probably going to fill the Cooper Cup role, like play a lot from the slot. And the thing is with Matt Stafford, like he is like the wide receiver kingmaker. I mean, think about all the wide receivers careers he's made or boosted or elevated. And so, like, I think the guy that would make the most sense, it would be him. And so, yeah, I think he'd be the guy that I would be wanting to stash. I would like to see for a couple of weeks, see how this plays out.
Yeah, I like that. I like the pickup.
Nino, what's up? You just pulled the trigger on this trade. Any thoughts of who would you rather have? Traded away on Ramondre and got King here. I would rather have Ramondre.
Think I would as well.
I mean, unless it's the standard league, it's just because Derrick Henry is game script dependent. We've already seen it. You've seen it in week 1 against the Chiefs. Like he didn't play that much. This is the way this is going to go. So anytime if they're trailing and trailing game scripts, he's not going to be on the field. It's going to be Justice Hill. And so it makes him kind of one-dimensional, and he has to score touchdowns. Now, he's gotten there each of the last 2 games to score a touchdown, which kind of saved his week a little bit. But in full PPR, I want running backs trying to catch passes, and Ramondre Stevenson has like a 15% target share. Not that I love their offense. I think overall, the Ravens, obviously have a better offense, but still, it just worries me with Derrick Henry right now, and just kind of the way they've been utilizing him. So I know last week he did see 18 carries, I think like 88 yards and a touchdown when they were a little bit more of a positive script. But with him, just a lack of pass catching upside, it just makes his ceiling really limited. And so that's why I would prefer Ramondre.
Yeah.
A little dynasty question here, right up your alley. Dynasty QB, Hurts, Knicks, Drake May, and then Saquon, Ramondre, Connor, Monty, and Rico. 3 Chiefs, Ray Davis, and then Wilson, London, Godwin, Dell, McLaurin, Tyler Johnson, Wicks, Firemuth, Gesicki need to trade for a quarterback.
I would not. Obviously you don't feel great if Hurts were to go down, but that's probably going to be the case for most teams. Like, you're not going to have someone that if Hurts goes down, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just plug in blank and I'm completely fine. So that's a bridge I would cross once I got to it. I don't think I would try and make a trade right now, and if I did, it wouldn't be for anyone near like the Hurts tier. Like, it'd be like a Geno Smith or like a cheaper backup that you'd feel more comfortable plugging in behind Hurts and ahead of Knicks and May. So I think you're good. But if you're worried about it, I would definitely be going the cheaper route.
Tyler, Ravens or Bills defense plus should I drop Tucker for Myers, Santos, Prater, or Tampa's kicker, or keep Tucker?
It's all you, buddy. This is right up your alley.
I would go Bills just because of the matchup because Jacksonville offense has looked terrible so far to start the year. And their offensive line has not been great either. So I would go Bills here over Baltimore, considering they're going to be on the road against Dallas. And then as far as your kickers are concerned, I think with the options you have here, I think I would go Santos here. Like Justin Tucker might be cooked. Like I'm not 100% saying it, but he's kind of trending that way the last 2 years. If you look at him last year, like he was awful on kicks from 50 plus yards, and he's kind of struggled with that this year as well. And so I don't know. He might be falling off a little bit, at least I'll just put it that way. So I'm perfectly okay with dropping Justin Tucker. Like I don't think Justin Tucker's a team player you need, or you have to have, or you just have to hold on to him. So, and I do think Santos, who was really good last year, was kicker 5 last year. And he's actually been pretty good this year, despite them not scoring any touchdowns yet. And so Shane Waldron has just been fired. It should be fired into a moon. He wrecked the Seattle offense, and then shockingly, all of a sudden, their offense looked a lot better last week, and then now he's doing the same thing with this offense with the Bears. I don't understand how these guys continually get jobs like this. Just doesn't understand it. I'll never get it. But yeah, I would be perfectly okay with going Santos though. Like he's off to another really good start. The other option, if Blake Grupe is there too, like he's the other guy that I really like as well as a long-term ad as well. Just kicking in the dome, this offense looks to be much better, and that's kind of thing. My RB1 is Kyron, so I'd have Kyron, Etienne, Olave would be my wide receiver 3 behind Neighbors and Ayuk.
Like it.
Yeah. Kicker questions are coming in. They know. I guess I'm just attracting all the kicker people now. Love it though. Should I keep Boswell or drop for Prater, Grupe, Santos? I would drop. I know he had that monster game week 1, and I still think he's going to be okay just because this team's never really going to be good enough to get him into scored a lot of touchdowns. But still, the things we look for the most are obviously high scoring offenses and and teams that are really good on third downs. So just the Steelers offense doesn't strike a lot of enthusiasm inside of me right now, the way that this team is playing. I mean, this is like 1960 type football right now we're watching with these scores and these games that we're getting right now. I mean, if you love running the football, I mean, you are 6 to midnight every time watching these games. I mean, because that is what we're getting. We are not getting a lot of, aerial attack through the games we've gotten to see with the Pittsburgh Steelers so far.
And just wait till the Chargers game this weekend.
Yeah, and I mean, 2 more. I mean, my goodness, sword fight out there between those guys with who can run the ball the more. So I'm just saying. But so I like Boswell, but I would go with Blake Grupe this week and moving forward. Bucks or Bears defense? Bucks for me.
Yeah.
Gabriel, good evening. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you're doing well as also. Wondering, should I start Shaheed or McLaurin? This Shaheed, not
Shaheed,
even close.
baby. Nope.
Yeah.
Wouldn't think twice about it.
No. Adrian just got offered Lamb for Kyron and Tank Dell. Should I accept? I think I would. This is another scenario I would try to get a little greedy and counter with something. See if you can get a little bit more. Because I feel like you're giving up possibly a little too much. Maybe you're clearly getting the best player in this deal, and I just talked about why I'm not as high on Kyron Williams, but I still feel like I would try to get something a little bit more, like a bench stash or something like that for this.
Yeah, even if it was like an outside like handcuff type of like running back or something. Need a bib there? You all right? And he's muted.
Did you notice it? Did you see it? I didn't know if anyone noticed that.
Yes.
I shouldn't do that. People can just clip this and throw it because there's an easy clip button that you can just clip. Shouldn't be doing stuff like that. Oh wait, did you answer?
Yeah, I'm with you. I want Lamb, but I try and like I said, like a handcuff or something thrown in with it.
Likely or Gesicki?
I mean, it's hard to trust either of these tight ends. I'd feel a lot better about it if the Bengals weren't rotating 3 tight ends in last week. Like Gesicki clearly had the best production, but there were 2 other. Eric All was in there, and was it Tanner Hudson was also getting play last week. I'm gonna go likely just because I'm not sure how often they're gonna have to throw it. How often since he's gonna have to throw it in this matchup against Washington. Ravens struggle to run the ball. I think I would take a shot on likely here. Super close though.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you. I think it feels like a script that like we sort of similar saw like week 1 with the Chiefs, right? Well, I think this we could see that a little bit more. So I do think. I mean, I know likely wasn't obviously nearly as good as he was week 1, but he still run a decent amount of routes. Obviously, the target share kind of dipped off, but still, like he's still running out there and he's still seeing a lot of routes. So I think though that's still encouraging for Isaiah Likely. So I think I would go with Likely if you're over Gesicki. Bronson, trade Mahomes, Jacobs, and Debo for Justin Jefferson. No. Also, no on the second one.
Yeah, I couldn't do that unless this is like a small league.
Yeah,
Like
it's just, I mean, that's way too much. I mean, I know Mahomes has struggled a little bit to start the year, but like we've kind of talked about this so far with Mahomes. That I mean, they face 2 defenses that know him really, really well, and so I'm not really all that concerned with him. I think he'll be fine throughout the rest of the year. Jacobs, complete workhorse, and then Debo. I know he's going to be out for a week or 2, but still, I get it. It's just Jefferson, but they're not giving up enough. And then on the other side, where you're getting Waddle as well. If this was an offense with Tua Tagovailoa, then I think we'd be having a different conversation, and then I'd probably willing to accept that. I'm not doing that with the current state of that offense and not even knowing when or if Tua is going to come back.
yeah. And just real quick, back to the Cincy thing. Eric All played 33 snaps. Drew Sample was the other tight end, played 33 snaps, and Mike Gesicki played 30 snaps. So obviously Gesicki was the one who saw the targets, but it's just kind of hard to trust that.
Honestly, too, Eric Hall is kind of the one that I kind of got my fingers crossed that kind of breaks out because he's kind of got that, the tight end U of Iowa that he came from. Obviously, so what he suffered a torn ACL or whatever, so that's kind of went the slow progress from him. But he could be the guy like second half of the season that kind of breaks out. I was surprised we saw him. That's not something I was expecting. So Marcus with 6 bench spots and an elite quarterback and tight end. About how many of those bench spots should be dedicated to handcuffs? So it's kind of the conversation we have a lot. Like at this point, like there's certain players I'm not dropping. Kind of talked about like Chase Brown and Braylon Allen and stuff like that. But like earlier in the season, like I don't want to be hitching my wagon to a bunch of handcuffs because one, when here in a couple weeks when bye weeks start, a lot of those guys are going to be the first players you drop for the most part. And so I would rather try to get like usable assets, players that you can play now. And then once you get to like week 9, week 10 is when I start to feel way more comfortable about handcuffs. But I wouldn't want to have more with 6 bench spots. I probably wouldn't want to have, if we're just talking about like a pure handcuff that really doesn't have a lot of value outside of that, I probably wouldn't want more than like 1 or 2, especially with 6.
And I think that also slightly depends on how your roster is constructed. Like if you went 0 RB, like you're probably going to have a couple more handcuffs. But like just like in a vacuum, I'm with you. Like 2 would probably be the max because, like you said, you're never going to want to drop them. they're going to be sitting there. Then you're probably going to have to drop them. And that, like, for me anyway, I feel like every time I do that, that's when the starter gets hurt. And then I ended up dropping the handcuff. So probably set around 2 just in a vacuum. But like I said, it wouldn't surprise me for some people. Like I have a league. I did a work redraft league. Took CMC at 2 overall. And then like just punted and waited. And now like last week I started Ty Chandler and Jeff Wilson. So it's not a great time.
I do agree, Tony. I think that's a good point. Kind of how your roster construction is, because then you're probably. But I view things there like I don't view like a Ty Chandler as a handcuff. I feel like he has standalone value, right?
Yeah.
So for me, like a pure handcuff to me is just like, okay, this player has no value outside of unless an injury happens. So if a player has standalone value, like someone like Ty Chandler does, who's going to see touches, who's going to play probably 35, 40% of the snaps, he's somebody that you can just plug in on any week basis, like as a flex option, especially as bye weeks get going. But yeah, and if you have an elite quarterback, elite tight end, obviously we're not wanting to dedicate any other positions to the quarterback or tight end position. We can stream those when those times come. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the way I look at it. Over on Twitch again, Devo full PPR, Devontae versus Carolina, Devonta versus New Orleans, or Garrett Wilson versus New England. Pick 2.
It's going to be the first 2 for me. I'm going to sit Garrett Wilson. Haven't really been inspired by that Jets offense. Obviously, they had a tougher matchup week 1 against San Fran, but Christian Gonzalez is a certified baller on the other side for New England. So I'm going to sit Wilson. I have them all relatively close this week.
I probably agree with you. So it makes me really nervous. Can you not start all 3? I guess that'd be my question.
Yeah, who do you have at flex?
Will drop Moody for Group A. Yeah, I'll do that. I have no problem doing that. I don't mind. I think that's close. I think either one of them are fine. So I don't think it's like a strong lean one way or the other. But like I said, like, yeah, I was trying to think about it. Like, yeah, I probably would, or I'd be okay with it anyway. Let me put it that way. Kenny, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 2 flex, full PPR. Brees, Cook, Najee, Ford, Braylon Allen, Bucky. Wide receivers, Puka, DJ, Lad McConkey, Quentin, Brian Thomas. Waddle. Or Wandale. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Traded Cook and Brian Thomas for Nico and Javonte. Just got offered Malik and Moss for Nico and Javonte option or opinions.
No, I want to keep Nico.
Yeah. That's kind of where my lean was too. He's an absolute stud.
Yeah, it's a monster.
Marcelo, Laporta, and Evans for a wide receiver 1 like JJ Cup or Reek IW, or hold Evans and Laporta. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to be trading for Cup with the injury that he's got, kind of uncertainty. I know that they said they're not going to put him on IR, which is a positive because that means that maybe he's going to be back sooner than what we were expecting. But Tyreek, while he saw a huge target share with Skylar Thompson whenever Skylar Thompson was the quarterback, it still was like a really low ADOT. So, like, it's still Tyreek, but like, I think that's too much too. Because like Sam Laporta, Sam Laporta has a 9% target share right now, which is wild with the Lions. You have to figure that's going to course correct, and then Mike Evans is going to be fine. I know he wasn't as good last week as he was week 1, so I think that's giving up too much for any of the 3 that you mentioned. Like, if I was going to do it, it would probably be for Justin Jefferson. I don't. but I would still ask for something else in return because you're thinking about this in a perspective. And I know that draft capital kind of ceased to exist, but at this point, but still, Laporta was somebody you probably drafted like a second or third round. You probably drafted Mike Evans in the third round. Like, I don't know. It feels like a lot. I guess to try to equalize it, I would ask for a little bit more because that's still quite a bit. I mean, Mike Evans is still a borderline wide receiver 1, probably a high end wide receiver 2 at this point, and then Laporta still should be by season's end. I think he'll still finish as a top 5 tight end.
Yeah.
So I think if I was going to do it, it would be for Justin Jefferson, and I would ask for a little bit more, or Jamar Chase would be the ones that I would want to really go after. Those trades are from another league I'm in, but from the league with the bogus trades from last year, I'm 0-2 and have lost 3 total points, and nobody has trades so far. Fingers crossed.
Hey, there's always got to look for the silver lining, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was a Cinderella story. I mean, really. I mean, because he won the whole thing, right? I mean, we had the collusion that we got a tale of collusion in here, and the weekly update of it, and you took it down. So that's
America's team.
Yeah. So we're gonna turn it around. Okay, it's only we're 0-2. We'll figure it out here. Bills or Texans defense? I'm gonna go the Bills here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drop Jalen Wright or Javonte for Steele or Chuba, Pacheco owner. I would do it for Carson Steele or Javonte. At this point. Oh, okay. Now I'm reading this. He already has Javonte. I was reading comprehension, Kevin. I would drop Jalen Wright for Carson Steele.
Man. This to me is like, are you needing to start any of these guys, right? Like if it's just like a pure stash, like obviously I see Pacheco owner, but that to me would depend on what you have behind Pacheco. If you need someone to start, I'm with you. Probably dropping Wright for Carson Steele. But if I don't need to start any of these guys, I think I'd still want to hold on to Jalen Wright.
Yeah, I think he is one of the. I was surprised last week he didn't get more run than what he did.
I was surprised whenever they were getting smacked around by multiple scores and they still had a banged up Devon Achane out there still running and catching passes. Like I genuinely couldn't believe that. Like to me, that entire game plan just felt like somebody took over Mike McDaniel's body and that wasn't him. Like it just seemed really odd from beginning to end.
Yeah, I couldn't understand it either. Especially like I think it was like the last drive or second to last drive of the game. Like the game was clearly over, and we still got Devon Achane out there. I was like, okay, I don't know what we're doing, but Simp, Seahawks, Raiders, Bills, or Packers. This is the Raiders for me. And the Raiders are actually, I think, are really strong. Like for the next 4 weeks, just have incredible matchup after incredible matchup. So it's kind of a position you can just pick up and just leave it for the next 4 weeks, not even have to worry about streaming. That's kind of the way that I look at it. Carlos, hello. Should I go crazy with Thielen? I have Evans, but the Broncos defense has been unstoppable versus wide receivers so far. Should I go for the hot take PPR 10-man 1-1?
I could not do that.
Yeah, I would still be playing Mike Evans.
Mike Evans gets moved into the slot enough to where he's at least going to have a handful of opportunities to be away from Surtain.
Sean, I have Kelsey, Ingram, and Light. I like it since I'm trying to figure out my tight end 1. Which would you recommend dropping so I can use an additional bench space? I mean, if you have to drop somebody, you're going to drop Isaiah Likely. But I think I would, with the state of tight ends right now, like I would be trying to trade one of them, honestly. And honestly, right now, the probably the easiest one to trade would probably be Isaiah Likely because Kelsey hasn't really done a whole lot, and then Ingram obviously with the injury. So
Yeah, I feel like you should be able to trade one of them. That's what
yeah,
that's what I would try and do first. Then I guess if I had to, it probably would be Likely, but don't feel great doing that.
no, yeah, totally agree. Reynaldo, Jerome Ford, or Chuba? It's gonna be Jerome Ford.
Yeah, and just gotta cross your fingers and hope and pray that we don't get this bullshit Deonta Foreman touches again.
Yeah, I don't know. The usage there was just really weird. I don't understand it. But I still would go. I would still go Jerome Ford on this one. GV full PPR: Ishivas, Pierce, Reed, Judy, Mooney, Thielen, Wandale Robinson, or Jerome Ford. Pick 2.
I mean, Yoshi, if I'm gonna go Yoshi regardless, even if T Higgins comes back. Yoshi's still gonna play in the slot enough. Can't imagine they give Higgins a full workload in that first game back, especially going up against Washington. And then Mooney. What could possibly go wrong answering Mooney as many times as we have?
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's Jaden Reed. If that's Jaden Reed and Jordan Love plays, I'm playing Jaden Reed. Because
Yes, yes.
Jordan Love legitimately returned to practice today. So, uh, and I mean, I guess it's worth noting that Jordan Love actually wasn't even ruled out until like right up close to the game time last week. So maybe he is closer than we think he is. So if Jordan Love were to play, it's Jaden Reed. Like it's wheels up for you're back on board. All the Packers wide receivers again. So it would be pretty easily Jaden Reed, and then I would from here I would go Jerome Ford. Now, if Jordan Love does not play, then I would still stick with Jerome Ford, and I would switch to Mooney at that point. Raylan, what's up? What is good? Hope you are doing well, Raylan. Carr or Kyler Murray? This is going to be Kyler Murray for me.
Kyler.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Derek Carr has been phenomenal, and he's awesome. He's been great so far to start the year. But Kyler Murray has been better than he has in terms of just fantasy upside. I think Kyler Murray also has 50 plus rushing yards in both games so far this year. And each game, obviously he's coming off being the QB1 last week. Just phenomenal game so far from him, and he just looks really, really good. So it is definitely Kyler Murray. I have Kincaid. Should I drop for Ertz? Dropping Brandon Cooks.
Nah. I was gonna roll Kincaid.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier. It's just really frustrating because they just haven't really thrown the ball a lot, which is kind of the last 6 or 7 weeks of the season with Joe Brady. That's still kind of what they did. They were very much run heavy. It's been frustrating with Kincaid because he was somebody that I was extremely high on heading into the season. I felt like he could just lead this team in targets, and but so far it's been pretty frustrating for Dalton Kincaid. I mean, he is 22nd among all tight ends in routes run right now, and he's seeing a 13% target per route run rate, which isn't great.
Right now, if you came back every week for the rest of the season and asked us Kincaid or Ertz, I can't imagine there's ever going to be a time where we tell you to start Ertz over Kincaid. So you're going to pick him up, and he's just going to sit there and just clog your roster.
Yeah, I think at some point they have. I think you'll see Ben Sinnott there for the Commanders.
Yeah.
Alejandro, Jets or Bucks D? I'm gonna go with the man.
I'm gonna go Bucks.
I think I'm gonna go Jets, but it's really, really close. I really like the Bucks a lot this week against Denver.
I'm going Bucks just because I feel like that's the higher chance for a turnover.
Yeah. I think it's really close. I would lean Jets, but I wouldn't be upset if
That's close.
Raylan, Zach Moss, or Braylon Allen? It's Zach Moss.
I gotta go Zach Moss here.
Really encouraged to see what Braylon Allen did last week, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect that kind of production moving forward either. So I think it's a good sign of things that could come if something were to happen to Brees Hall. Now, I will say, I guess Brees Hall, did he miss practice today? I think he did, but it's only Wednesday. I don't talk a lot about, Wednesday practice reports. It doesn't really, or no, I guess, wait, they play Thursday. But I still would expect Brees Hall to play.
Don't give me that. Not what I wanted.
Which they're not practicing all right now anyway. So all this stuff would be, when it's Thursday, it's what they would be doing if they did practice.
It looks like he was on the injury report, but was listed as a full participant. So
Okay. Maybe that's what it was. He got added to the injury report. Maybe that's what it was. I thought I saw something about it. But regardless, he's playing. I have no doubt. So that Brees Hall is going to play. I just think I was really encouraged with what we saw from Braylon Allen, but I wouldn't expect that type of usage or that much workload that he did. I think he's definitely going to start being involved, and he's going to hurt Brees Hall at some point with just taking away probably some touchdowns and stuff like that from him. But he's not going to see that kind of workload every week. So I think it's Zach Moss. Tom, with the Rams not putting Cooper Kupp on IR, does Demarcus Robinson still have fans? Well, yeah, because Cooper Kupp's still going to miss weeks. He's not playing for at least the next 2 or 3 weeks. And something to still keep in mind: this team runs like the highest amount of 11 personnel, and so we're going to still see Demarcus Robinson be on the field a lot, no matter what, whether Cooper Kupp is there or not. And then, not to mention, Puka is still going to be out for a while. And so, yeah, I still think Demarcus Robinson would be that guy. Yeah. Raylan, start 2 wide receivers: Waddle, Shaheed, JSN, Amari Cooper. So Shaheed for sure. And I'm just going to hope and pray for Amari Cooper.
That's where I'm at as well. But if he can't get it done this week, dropping him. I don't give a fuck.
Rage dropping him.
Yep.
There's a few players that are close to that list for me.
So frustrating. 17 targets through the first 2 weeks, and it's done Jack Diddley Dick with any of them. Dropping passes both weeks. It has not been pretty.
I traded Mixon for Devonta Smith and
Jerome Ford.
Short term, yeah, I think it's a good move. Long term, it worries me because while we've talked about this quite a bit so far, but while Nick Chubb, whenever he does return, he's not going to come back to being the Nick Chubb that he was, where he's going to be playing the majority of the snaps. That's not going to happen. But it's still just going to be another player that's involved within this scenario, and so. I feel like Jerome Ford could still be probably like an RB3 once that happens, or maybe a low end RB2. Devonta Smith also, especially if this continues to linger for AJ Brown. He just stands out, a lot. So I don't hate the trade, but long term, with Joe Mixon, probably, the workload that he saw week 1, we saw that. Now he did get banged up last week, but it doesn't sound to be extremely serious. You could end up regretting that a little bit, but.
I would then try and flip Jerome Ford for a Jalen Warren.
Yeah. Ashton, start 1 PPR. McLaurin, Waddle, Shaheed, Jalen Wright. Or Jalen Wright. Zay White. Oh my God. Zamir White.
One more time.
What is wrong with me right now, dude? It's like I've been drinking or something.
This is easily Shaheed for me.
I'm getting ready to have a stroke or something like that. Yeah, it's Shaheed for sure. Chargers or Raiders defense? It's gonna be the Raiders for me.
Raiders.
Ronnie, Shaheed or Dobbins full PPR?
Shaheed.
Yeah, this is gonna be pretty easy for me. Really like what J.K. Dobbins has done. Really great story. He's been awesome so far, but this is not a good matchup.
Not the one.
So. Jets, Vikings, Chargers, Seahawks, or Packers. This is gonna be the Jets for me.
Seahawks for me.
Mateo, with Puka and Debo out, do I start JSN, JMO, or Shaheed full PPR?
Man, what a lucky, envious spot you're in to be out those 2 receivers and still have those options.
I'm going to go with Jameson Williams, but it's really close.
I'm going Williams as well. I know Amon-Ra is supposed to be fine, but did not look great. Like the type of player he is, like I did not expect him to see like limping and like crawling off the field the way that he was. Then in this matchup, I feel like Jameson could end up getting more run.
Yeah. Glock guy is Najee, Waddle, and Brian Thomas for Mixon and Keenan Allen a low ball offer. The Mixon owner is the gutter. In the gutter.
No, I mean, I don't think so.
No, but I can be honest, I wouldn't want to trade for Keenan Allen either. So
yeah, I actually think you might be giving up too much. I think it's
kind of what I was thinking.
the reverse of a low ball offer.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree because I'm not in on Keenan Allen at all. So yeah.
I feel like you could take Waddle out and that would still be a fair deal.
Yeah. Ashton, start 2. Jacoby Myers, Waddle, Christian Watson, Naylor, Downs. So if Jordan Love plays, I would go Christian Watson and Waddle. If he doesn't play, I'm gonna go Waddle and Josh Naylor.
I feel like this is one where we need like the if then diagram, because then also throwing in if Jordan Addison returns. So if Love plays, I'm going Watson. Watson's going to be locked in. Now we go Watson and Waddle. If Addison doesn't play, Watson, Naylor. If Addison does play, Waddle and Downs, assuming Jordan Love doesn't play. I hope that made sense, Ashton. You're in the Discord. You can drop it in on Sunday. But once we know the answers to some of these questions,
we need like a Venn diagram for this. Spencer, hello. Start 1 flex. Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk, Rashid Shaheed.
Ayuk.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with Debo, with old Debo out. Raylan, I'm 2-0 so far, guys. W's in the chat. Cedric, hey man, I got an offer Laporta and London for Neighbors and Pitts. I have Neighbors and Pitts. What do you think?
Sorry, I scrolled down. I was reading Last Fish.
I think I would keep. I think I would rather have the neighbor side. I don't know. And it's I don't know. Maybe wild. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong because like I do think London now that that Kirk Cousins starts to look like I think as the season goes by, Kirk Cousins is going to look better and better, and so Drake London's obviously going to be a much better option. It's just man with Malik Neighbors, I just think he's going to continue to see such a high target volume.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Like maybe it ends up, at the end of the year, this looks silly, but the fact that like Ray McLeod for 2 weeks in a row has played a significant role in that offense. We've been talking about Mooney a bunch. Obviously, you have Pitts. Bijan gets targets. So thinking with you, we're going to stick with Neighbors and Pitts.
Jay Moore traded DK and Brian Thomas for Marvin Harrison Jr.
I don't hate it. If you're a Marv believer and you think he's going to be set up nicely for the rest of the year, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. Think by the end of the year you could maybe regret it just because I do think by the end of the year Brian Thomas is going to be this team's wide receiver one and could have a pretty significant breakout. And then DK really just depends on if this offense continue to look like it did last week. Because if it continue to do what it did, then I mean DK could be like I think he'd finish right around where Marvin Harrison is. So it could end up being like a slight overpay. But Ronnie, Texans or Raiders defense? This is Raiders defense.
Yep.
Tony could draft Fields for Carson Steele. Yep,
Yes.
I'm totally okay with that. Last fish in the pond. Favorite question again. 180 person pool down to 62. Both Baltimore and Indy lost. Down to my last two entries. Both are Week 1 Buffalo, Week 2 Chargers, and Hail Marys 5. Thinking Raiders and Cincinnati. Much love to TFA Nation. I don't know if I really feel like like fantastic. Like it would have been a slam dunk if it was Bryce Young, but now it's not. I'm like, ugh. Trying to think. Let me see something. We'll bring up the old Vegas. See what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to survive, I think Cincy is probably the way to go.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati. I guess you have to pick it.
Seattle. I don't see Seattle losing at home to Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, Seattle or the Bucks would be my other option.
Yeah.
Because most of the other situations aren't necessarily slam dunk or anything. Something like you just feel great about.
Correct.
I mean, the 49ers, I think, has been bet up to 7 points. That's crazy. Opened at 2.5, and it jumped up to 7 points. Money's coming in heavy.
Well, the Saints one is wild too. opened up as 3-point underdogs, and now they are 2.5-point favorites.
Yeah, it's fair too. That's one of the biggest line movements as well. The same with the Titans. They opened at a 3.5-point dog, and now they're favored by 2. But I'm guessing that has more to do with maybe Malik Willis or something.
So I'm probably going Cincy and
I'm gonna go Cincinnati and the Bucks.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
And appreciate you, Last Fish. Always one of our favorite questions of the week. Let's keep it rolling here for the next week.
Always.
Raylan, kicker question: Group A, Carlson, Santos, or Pierce? This is gonna be Group A for me.
Sure.
Daniel, trade Achane and Amon-Ra for Jonathan Taylor, Harrison, DK Metcalf. My other running backs are Rashad White, Monty Pollard, Mason, Ramondre. My quarterback is Kyler.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna say no. I wouldn't do that. There's things like there's stuff that like with Jonathan Taylor that worries the hell out of me. Again, that he doesn't catch passes. If you look last week in the fourth quarter of last week's game, he didn't play at all, a single snap, because they were trailing. Like that's concerning. Like he's clearly, your best player you have, but because he's not involved in the passing game at all, it really just that just always bothers me a little bit. Just because he becomes more game script dependent and he needs to score touchdowns, and then once you then factor in Anthony Richardson, who's going to take away some of those opportunities at the goal line as well, like it really starts to make you worried about Jonathan Taylor. Marvin Harrison, I think, is going to be really good, and DK Metcalf, so I like that, but the ceiling for Achane and St. Brown, though, is still immense. St. Brown had like an immense. What did he have? Like close to 20 targets or something last week. And then you had Achane, who's just going to continue to be really good. And so I just think, while I don't hate the trade, I don't think it's like, an insult or anything like that. I would still prefer the Achane and Amon-Ra St. Brown side.
Caps, if you're still rocking with this, let us know your receiver situation. I'm curious to know what that looks like.
Steve, start 3. Pittman, JSN, JMO, Worthy, Waddle. So for me, it's going to be
Browns out.
Yeah. It's going to be Jameson Williams, Worthy, and JSN.
Yep.
Give me back my Michael Pittman.
I know, man. Who would have thought?
I know, he's been so bad. And it's not...
Can't do it.
Anthony Richardson's been so bad. Like they just haven't been able to throw the ball. Unless your name's Alec Pierce, I guess. But, yeah. It's getting pretty hard to watch. And really hard to even... I would, if I don't have to put Michael Pittman in my lineup, I'm not putting him in my lineup.
Yeah.
Sean, thanks for the great tight end advice. On that note, I guess he didn't say great. He said thanks for the tight end advice. I don't want to put any words in anybody's mouth. On that note, I got a trade offer for Kelsey for Harrison Jr. Different forums I've been reading seems to say hold out for Kelsey. Thoughts? I'm not. I wouldn't want to trade Marvin Harrison for Travis Kelsey. I think better days are ahead for Travis Kelsey. Like he's been like last week was like 1 catch for 5 yards and stuff like that. But I just think it's going to be a little bit frustrating. Rashee Rice is running basically the Travis Kelsey role right now. Like he's doing so much of the stuff that Travis Kelsey does, all this underneath routes and everything else. And like I said, like they're going to limit him. Like they don't want him to break down early in the season. They want him to be healthy when it comes playoff time comes. So, like I've said, like I do think that he is going to have better days ahead. But I think I mentioned it. Like he's only scored more than like 17 fantasy points once in his last, and like it's like the last year and a half. Like it's just been a long time since like he's been that guy. And so, while don't get me wrong, Travis Kelce, just because how bad the tight end position is still really valuable, I just wouldn't want to give up Marvin Harrison for it.
So you're saying you would take the trade?
Is that what he's saying? I assume
I
that
think
this
so,
was
right?
I got a trade offer Kelce for Harrison.
Because wasn't this the Kelsey, Ingram, and Likely?
Oh, if that's the case. Yeah. Is that the same one? Is it the same question? Same guy? Same person? Did I ask that?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm on something, bro. I'm just excited to be here. That's no,
Yeah, it is. It is Sean.
okay. Then if that's the case, I apologize. I guess I was reading that wrong. Then yeah, I would do that for sure. Especially with the other tight end options.
Yeah.
Well, how can we figure that out? I mean, maybe I should stop. Running back situation: Kamara, James Williams, Corum, Hill, Pirine, Spears. Should I hold for dear life or too early for changes?
I mean, Kamara is basically scoring for your RB1 and your RB2 spot right now. So, which is a good thing because after Kamara, the rest of that is rough. But I also don't see the only thing you're going to be able to do is to trade down from Kamara, and certainly an option. Guess that would also, to me, depend on what the rest of your roster looks like and where you're sitting. Like, are you sitting at 0-2, 1-1, 2-0? Because I think Kamara would obviously be a pretty solid sell high if you could, but I wouldn't want to drop down too far from Kamara either.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's still a really long season, so we need to let some things play out a little bit. I think you have some options, some depth here on your bench anyway. And so I'm assuming just the way this team is built with the running backs you're showing that you have, I'm assuming you went really heavy wide receiver, and you must have some really strong wide receiver options. And so if that's the case, I think you're fine. Kamara is kind of bailing you out, considering where you probably even drafted Kamara. I mean, Kamara was going in the 4th or 5th round, something like that, if I remember correctly. So I wouldn't panic right now. Clay, Keon Coleman, or Juwan Jennings start PPR flex. It's gonna be Juwan Jennings for me.
Going Jennings as well. Like him as an option this week. Appreciate you, Clay.
Where are we at? Right here. Raylan, what do you guys think I should do with Kyron, especially with him playing this week? Do I start him or should I try and trade him?
I mean, I'm starting him. Like I said earlier, whenever we had the question of, can't remember who it was, Kyron versus Ramondre, maybe, I don't know, whoever it was. But Kyron's getting that workhorse role, barely coming off the field. And I think with the way that their receivers are right now, you're going to see him get a decent amount of targets. So, kind of hope maybe he gets some garbage time this week, and then you can look to move him after that if you want to. But I am more than fine with plugging in Kyron wherever I have him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't disagree with you. He's also, it's really hard to trade right now, because like I've said, he hasn't been phenomenal. He's been okay, and I think a lot of people
the stench.
Yes,
of the Rams
that's
right
gonna be the worst part. Everyone's gonna know, oh, look what all the Rams are missing, and people are just gonna be afraid to even acquire them, or they're gonna want to lowball you. And so I think you just have to ride this out. I think we already got this one, didn't we? We went JMO.
Yep.
Cam the Ham, love that name. I don't know. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that's a great name, Cam the Ham. Starting lineup is Mayfield, Mason, Mixon, Henry, Andrews at tight end, London, Pittman, Goff, Robinson, Bucky Irving with CMC on IR. I feel like I got a good squad. Should I make any trades? One. I don't know about a trade, but I'm assuming your bench. You're saying Goff is on the bench, right?
And then Cam also has Diggs and Adams at wide receiver.
I would play Jared Goff over Baker Mayfield this week.
Who Lions have?
Best game on the
Cards.
slate. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
It's been bet up to 51.5. I mean, this is the highest total on the slate. So by a decent little margin.
Yeah, I mean, with having Diggs and Adams also a wide receiver, I feel like you could potentially look to upgrade at your wide receiver one spot, just like London off to a slow start, not getting the type of target share that we were expecting. Obviously, that late touchdown really saved his day. I think this is a good spot for Diggs this week. So like maybe you could look to package Diggs with someone else, assuming he has a solid outing. But yeah, I think it's a solid squad as well. I'd feel better about it if I had like a true wide receiver one. Kevin's not there, so we're going to continue to move on here. Raylan, would you guys trade Brees Hall for AJ Brown and Aaron Jones in a half PPR? Man,
I would not. These top like 3 or 4 running backs, there's just so much value with him. Like it makes it really hard for me to want to move any of them. Like I mentioned with AJ Brown, hamstring injury. You got Aaron Jones a little nicked up too. Already. Like I would rather have Brees Hall.
I think so as well. But Raylan, drop your team in the Discord, just so I can check it out. See what else you have going on there. Camden, 2 questions for you guys. If you were to trade Waddle 1-for-1, who would you target? And would you trade Ramondre for Connor or Derrick Henry?
It's really incredibly hard to trade Jalen Waddle right now. One, he hasn't really produced that much. Two, they just lost their starting quarterback. And so you're not going to get a ton for Jalen Waddle, I would guess at this point. And then I would not trade Ramondre for James Conner or Derrick Henry.
If I were going to do it, it would be for Connor. But he's just someone who misses time every year, been handling a massive workload through the first 2 weeks. So I probably wouldn't. But that one's close for me. Just because, like I said, I feel like the week is coming sooner or later where they're not in this close game script and able to hand a ball off to him 20 plus times. I'm trying to look through to see if anybody would make sense for a 1-for-1 with Waddle. What about George Pickens? You think you could do that?
Yeah, but I don't know if I would want to do that, you know? Like I mean, the thing that I'm more intrigued with would be I think what is probably going to happen is I think we're going to end up seeing Tyler Huntley as a starting quarterback here.
Yeah, I'm trying to snag Huntley on super flex teams where I have the space.
Yeah, and so then I would actually feel a little bit better just because like he's kind of shown at times that he can be a functional quarterback in the NFL. I mean, he won Pro Bowl, That's a Pro Bowl winning quarterback there. Just the craziest thing ever. But
Yeah.
so like I just don't think this is a good time to trade Waddle. Like it's just because I don't want long term I would rather have Jalen Waddle over George Pickens.
Yeah.
So I just think I would hold.
Brian, what's a better stack, Burrow with Higgins or Carr with Olave rest of season?
Burrow with Higgins.
Yeah, I'm with you. Which the fact that there was hesitation there is crazy in and of itself. But I like that's not going to last with New Orleans. James Williamson, who has a higher upside for the flex, Singletary, Dell, or Demarcus Robinson?
Tank Dell.
Going Tank Dell there as well. Shywan, would you trade Andrews for Higgins? I have McBride, and if not Higgins, who would be a good target? I don't mind that.
I don't mind that at all.
I like that. Spencer, thanks. Still trying to decide if I should flex Garrett Wilson, Rashid Shaheed, starting Ayuk and Rice.
I would go Garrett Wilson.
I would go Shaheed here, but dude, this Jets offense has not impressed me whatsoever. Like I said, I think Christian Gonzalez is legit. That total is disgusting. I think it's just going to be a slog fest tomorrow. Kanoa, good to see you in here as always. Aloha to you as well. Tyler Johnson, George Cooks, or Hubbard in a full PPR.
Oh boy. I would go Chuba Hubbard.
Now, full PPR, I'm going to go Dortch here. In this matchup, I think we see Dortch end up getting back and involved in this offense how he was week 1. So I'm going to go Dortch there. Anime, T. Higgins out this week. If he isn't, would you start him over Tank Dell or Nico Collins? I would not. I'd be starting Nico over T. So like I said, I feel like even if he does come back in this matchup, they're not going to need to force him out there to run a full complement of snaps. So I would start both receivers over T.
Yeah, I agree.
George, we need 2 in a non-PPR, DJ Moore, Flowers, JMO, or JSN.
Zay Flowers and Jameson.
Yep. I'm with you. Waddle or Higgins in a full PPR. This one, if Higgins plays, I would play Higgins over Waddle.
Yeah, I agree too.
Ooh. Olave or Smitty in the flex?
It's going to be Olave for me.
Olave for me as well, but man, that's super close. I think I have them like 1 spot apart. No more than 2. Riker, someone's offering DJ Moore for Michael Pittman. Should I take it?
Yeah.
I would take DJ Moore. Nick, trade Richardson, Gibbs, and Jigba for Lamar, Jones, Flowers.
I would want the Anthony Richardson Gibbs side.
Yeah, I agree. Nas TFN. Should I trade Jacobs and Flowers for JT and Coleman?
Oh no.
Yeah, I want Jacobs and Flowers. Is Njoku starting this week? If not, who should I stream? Colby Parkinson is not it. I think it's still too early to know with Njoku. Let me see here. So he was a DMP today. Doesn't mean a lot on a Wednesday. If he would have gotten in a limited practice, you'd feel a little bit better about it. But I'm going to assume that he is out for another week. In terms of streaming options you could look at, I think Hunter Henry, if he's out there, he makes some sense. Mike Gesicki, definitely out there, or should be out there, depending if your waivers ran or not. And if you want to get real gross, you can look at guys like Foster Moreau or Jawan Johnson, Greg Dulcich. I know the production has not been there whatsoever, but he's running a ton of routes. I think he had like 8 or 9 targets this past week. He only caught 3, which is obviously not great and not optimal. You can look there. If Evan Ingram were to miss, Penn State great, Brenton Strange could be in play as well. One of those guys should definitely be available for you.
It's actually crazy with Colby Parkinson because he's actually run the most routes of any tight end so far in the league, 67 of them, but has only seen 7 targets. So
he's on that K. Dotton plan.
Yeah.
Mark made 2 trades today: Reed and Steele for Monty and Demarcus Robinson, and Kamara for Neighbors, London, and Moss. Full PPR. Gibbs, Oder. Thoughts?
So I think he's saying he's traded for David Montgomery.
Yeah, looks like Reed
that?
and Steele for Monty and Demarcus.
I don't love having David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs on the same team. And like I've said, like if Jordan Love is back this week or next, I mean he's gonna be back in short order. Jaden Reed bumps back up to being like probably a borderline wide receiver 2. And so I would probably have rather have had the Reed and Steele side of this. Just because like I don't like if I'm gonna go after somebody, it's not Monty who I'd want. Like I just don't love having the 2 running backs from the same team. And then the Kamara for Neighbors, London, Moss, I think that was fine. Like that could be really good.
Yeah, I don't mind the second one. Would have rather had the Reed and Steele side on the first one. Jeff over on Twitch, Hawk and Devonta Smith for J.K. Dobbins and Odunze. I'm going to take the Smitty side here.
Yeah, I probably would too.
I never want to project or try and predict injuries, but J.K. Dobbins' history says that there's probably one coming at some point. it doesn't necessarily have to be anything insane or missing a bunch of time or anything like that. But um, we've been talking about Shane Waldron and that Bears offense for a while. I love Odunze, but I would take Devonta Smith's side here. And then B, would you trade?
Did you skip some? I think you did.
I don't think so.
Maybe they're not showing up for you. I don't know. There's like 4 or 5 questions that were skipped.
Oh shit! Where did that come from? There's definitely we're not there.
Do you see him now?
Yeah, that's really weird.
So okay, different league. Ramondre or Nico in the flex. This is Nico easily.
Yeah.
Drop Evan Ingram for Isaiah. Likely no.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
Gabe, Jameson or Sheed? This is gonna be Jameson for both of us.
Yep.
Thoughts on Andy Dalton? Very average to mid quarterback, but obviously just still an upgrade over what they were running out there with Bryce Young. I mean, Bryce Young was completely broken. So at least now maybe he can, at least provide like it's a league average quarterback play. I think is definitely in the, I think is what we'll see. So I think it's just a bump up for guys like Deontay Johnson and some of the other pass catchers we kind of waiting to see. I mean, somebody like Xavier Legette, who I also mentioned. So would you trade Mixon and Chase for JT and Nico? I could try to make it Connor. I give up as well. No. Or I don't know. That's actually now I'm starting to think about it more. I think I still want the Chase side though.
Yeah. Same.
I love Nico Collins. I think Nico Collins could be a wide receiver 1 this year, but I know Jamar Chase hasn't been great the first 2 weeks, seeing like a 16% target share, which is absolutely wild. But we just kind of see this every year from the Bengals. They, for whatever reason, start off really slow to start the year, and then they figure it out and turn it on. And so I think Jamar Chase is going to be fine. Jamar Chase is a locked-in top 3 wide receiver. Mixon, kind of see it. We saw week 1. He's going to get a lot of opportunity for goal line carries. Kind of got that little hip drop tackle stuff that happened to him. But he sounds like he's going to be probably okay. It sounds like it's a very short-term thing. So as much as I think JT and Nico, I think it's not a bad trade at all. I just would rather probably still have Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
Would you trade Mason for Connor? No. And I know you're saying I'm focusing on long-term / playoffs. The thing is with Chris McCaffrey, even if he's out for 6 to 7 weeks, like Jordan Mason is a top 10 running back. James Conner's not. I would feel like you probably could get more than James Conner. I think you're selling yourself low here for that. I mean, honestly, if Jordan Mason continues to produce like this, the 49ers are going to feel real comfortable taking it really slow with Christian McCaffrey and not rush him back at all. So, and they've already kind of said, this could end up being like a 6 to 7 week thing. And, if he continues to produce really well, I mean, this could be something where they just continue to hold him off until he's 100% ready to go. And so while I get what you're saying, like it's not a bad idea to look to see what you can get for Jordan Mason, but I would continue to hold, and he's going to have like this weekend. I mean, we have him ranked really high. I mean, he's our consensus number 1 running back. I have him at 3. I think Cody has him at 1. But still, like he could have a monster game this weekend, and if he does, I think then you continually try to, and then I would then go headhunting for a bigger name than James Conner.
Yeah.
Champagne drop Gus Edwards for Cam Akers if Joe Mixon is out. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I think Gus Edwards is cooked, honestly.
Yeah.
Start Likely or Ferguson this week. It'll be Ferguson this week with me as long as he plays, which I think he's supposed to. So.
Yep.
Joe Backs haven't been that bad against the 49ers. I'm not scared to start Kyron at all. I think it's more about the overall complex or overall look of this entire offense, right? Like, there's not a whole lot that scares you on this team. Like, you're not going to have to like really put a lot of worry into the other wide receivers here. And so that if you only have Kyron Williams, are they going to just focus on stopping Kyron Williams? You know, and so that's what I mean, we saw it kind of last week, right? The Cardinals aren't a great run defense. I mean, they're not somebody that like, oh, we're playing the Cardinals this week, you better stay away from running back. And really, Kyron only got there off of the touchdown that he scored late in that game. And so that's kind of the worry more than anything, is they fall behind quickly and they have to pretty much abandon the run.
Yeah.
Kelsey, Ayuk, Aaron Jones for Garrett Wilson and Rice. Yeah. If I can, I'll trade Kelsey, Ayuk, and Aaron Jones for Garrett Wilson and Rashee Rice. Yes.
I think I would as well. Yeah.
Wait, what? Should I trade Devontae Adams for Josh Jacobs? 48 attempts is insane. Yeah. But that's kind of what they were trying to do. I mean, I think that was a really smart game plan. It was really to hide Malik Willis and not ask Malik Willis to do a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have the receivers to be able to do it, then you need running back help. I don't mind the move at all.
Yeah, I think, and that's what it would depend on me, is like, who do you have right now? Who you have left at wide receiver, and who do you have at running back? Disc golf, Purdy or Jaden Daniels? I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Lapsky, would you make any trades? 12-man PPR, 2 flex, Kyler, Henry, Brian Robinson, CeeDee Lamb, Nico McBride, Devonta Smith, Marcus Robinson, bench Higgins, Spears, Dowdle, Braylon Allen, Schultz. Derek.
It's nothing that like really jumps out to me. I mean, Brian Robinson's been playing really well. It's been the only thing that's been working for that Washington offense. Henry's obviously been disappointing, but it's going to be hard to move him at this point. Obviously, once Higgins comes back, you're going to have you'll be able to flip him in for Demarcus Robinson. So, I mean, hope that Henry has a solid day and try and like maybe package him with another one of your bench pieces. We were talking about how bad tight end has been. Maybe you can do, like I said, if Henry pops off, like Henry Schultz, to try and upgrade it at your RB spot. But that would be the only thing I'd be looking at.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot here. I mean, maybe like probably another running back, but like, or somebody that I would just feel a little bit. But I mean, I think your core here is wide receiver. CD Nico is phenomenal. Yeah. Bride is great. Kyler,
Higgins.
Yeah, like, and you're really solid at wide receiver. Like, if it comes to a point where you need another running back, I think you have depth there at wide receiver that you can make another move for that. But right now, and I like some of the bench spots you have with Spears, Dowdle, and Braylon Allen too. So that's a really well put together team. I would say that. I would say if anything, you don't really need Dalton Schultz on your bench, but especially when you have Trey McBride. Should I trade Devonta Smith to TJ Hawkinson? Well, we already answered this, didn't we? I think we had this one already. Sounds really familiar. Yeah. I trade Mace for Connor right now. He's better. I mean, right now, they are really close, actually. Jordan Mason is actually the RB7, and James Conner is the RB8 in fantasy points per game, which is what we care about the most. And Jordan Mason has actually outscored James Conner so far. I mean, very small margin by 5 fantasy points, but so they've been really close. It's just the incredible usage that Jordan Mason is seeing, right now. And I get it from long-term perspective. You can make a case, right? That once obviously Christian McCaffrey comes back, that Jordan Mason is likely cooked. But I just like we were saying, like I just think you can get something better than James Conner, because what worries you about James Conner is the fact that he's never played 17 games. Like there injuries coming at some point. We just know it. And I don't like to wish on that and I think that's going to happen, but it just feels like it's inevitable every single year. And he's just not the running back that I want to invest in. I would rather go after somebody different with Jordan Mason. We already got that one.
Yeah.
Ronaldo, you guys have been awesome. I've been listening to your channel for 3 years now, and thanks to your insights, I have won in my coworkers' leagues 3 years in a row. Thank you. Let's go, Ronaldo. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. That's really what I care about the most when we're doing this. So it's
Absolutely
love to see it. Start 1, flex 1, bench 1.
I'm sitting neighbors.
Interesting. I'm sitting Mike Evans. Walito, what's up? 2 in PPR. Austin Eckler, Javonte, Juwan Jennings, and Christian Kirk. You would think it'd be easy, like, oh, Christian Kirk. Yeah, we're going to play Christian Kirk. But Christian Kirk, I don't I don't know if Doug Peterson has just lost his way in coaching, because it just feels like this offense has gotten progressively worse each of the last 2 seasons. And I don't really understand what's going on. I mean, this man had negative receiving yards, so that's wild.
It's Eckler and Juwan Jennings for me.
Yeah. Truth Teller got a tough one here. Start with 2 wide receivers, 1 super flex, 1 running back. Devonta Smith, Rasheed Rice, Garrett Wilson, JSN, James Williams, ETN 4, J.K. Dobbins, Dak Prescott, or Stroud at QB1. So Rice and Garrett Wilson for me.
Rice and Jameson Williams for me.
RB2 is going to be ETN. And then super flex. I want to go CJ Stroud.
Yeah. By a smidge.
Blair, should I trade Mike Evans for Garrett Wilson and Zamir White?
I want Evans rest of the season, and Zamir White just doesn't really do much for me, to be honest.
I would do it just to be able to get Garrett Wilson, but I get it. I get the hesitancy. The offense hasn't looked fantastic to start the year, but I think by the season's end, I think he's going to outproduce Mike Evans. But Augusto, my running backs are Hall, Kamara, ETN, Ford. My wide receivers are London, Rice, Neighbors, Godwin. Would you recommend me to trade ETN for Jason and Flowers, and then trade London and Ford for a good running back? I mean, you have good running backs now with Hall and Kamara and ETN. Really? But then I guess you're trading ETN away. You're getting Jason and Flowers. But I mean, wide receiver wise, you're fine too. I don't think I would be making a trade. Drake London, Rasheed Rice, Malik Neighbors, Godwin. You don't have that star wide receiver, that stud wide receiver. But but I think Rasheed Rice could end up being that by the end of the year. I think it's possible. I think it's very likely he finishes probably as a top 10 wide receiver, if not higher this year. And so, and the rest of the guys you have here, like I said, better days for London's coming. I mean, Kirk Cousins hopefully continues to improve, because he looked a lot better, at least in the second half of that game, on Monday. And then Godwin's been phenomenal. So I don't think you really need to make it.
I agree.
So Ronnie, would you trade Mostert for Garrett Wilson? My other wide receivers are Amon-Ra, A.J. Brown, Rice, Shaheed. Running backs are Cook, Monty, Akers, Dobbins. Thanks. If you can trade Raheem Mostert for Garrett Wilson, I'm doing that all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, without even, I would have already hit accept. Should I trade ETN, Marvin, Neighbors for James Cook, A.J. Brown, Waddle, Worthy? You need an answer, please. All right, we're going to go to the next one now. I would not.
No, I'm keeping ETN side.
Yeah, it's tough, but yeah. Yeah.
There's too many questions with AJ Brown and Waddle, honestly.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm at with it too. So I got Kincaid at tight end, picked up Hunter Henry. Are you keeping Henry or staying with Kincaid? If I keep either one, I got to drop someone. I was thinking Ford, but I don't know about keeping two tight ends. Yeah, no, I would still just hold on to Kincaid, keep moving. Joe Ortiz, Higgins or Ridley rest of season? I'm gonna go with Higgins.
Yep.
If Mostert is healthy, I need to take him off IR spot. Which do I drop? Corum, Wright, or P. Ryan? I would probably just drop P. Ryan.
Probably Jalen Wright.
I think it's more of a question of like what is one of these guys gonna have to be a starter for you at some point? Because if they're not, I want to hold the upside of Blake Corum and Jalen Wright. Where if Carson Steele got hurt, Samaje P. Ryan's still not going to be the starting running back for this team. I don't think they would be just like an ultra committee at that point. And again, Pacheco's coming back at some point. We're not going to go down that road again like I did last night. You can go listen to that. But my point is those two for me do possess quite a bit of upside. They are players that they're that one injury away type player, and so I would just drop P. Ryan. Alejandro, quarterback Hurts, Saquon, Connor, Wilson, London, flex is Godwin, Dell, super flex is McLaurin, Freiermuth benches, Nix, May, Monty, Rico, Ramondre, Steele, P. Ryan, Gesicki. If it was me in the super flex, I know it looks like they're playing McLaurin. I would play Ramondre. If I'm not playing a quarterback, which I get why you're not, obviously, because May's not even playing, and then you have Bo Nix. I can't play that. I would just go Ramondre if it was me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Joel. I cannot read today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Raiders this week. Yeah, I think they're a top 7 or 8 defense this week. Really like them. Not as good now because if Bryce Young was playing, they were going to be a top 3 option. Now they're more like top 8. If you haven't already, Ashton dropped it in here. Be sure to join our Discord. It's absolutely free. No strings attached. Just click the link, go in, boom, you're in. And it's a pretty lively community. Questions going on all the time, people answering. So it is a good place to be. So absolutely free if you want to join that. Also, if you haven't already, hit that like button. Helps with the algo. And also, if you could just hit that subscribe button, it's absolutely free. All we ask for, we appreciate it. Thanks. That's my TED Talk. Mecca, thoughts on Kyren Williams this week in rest of the season? I know this sounds absurd, but thoughts of benching him for Jerome Ford to match. I'm still playing Kyren. We still have him as like a borderline top 12 running back. There is certainly some concern with the offense, but I do think that he's still going to be able to get there. He's still going to see a really incredible workload. I would like to see him be more involved as a pass catcher. That is something that hasn't quite come around yet. But it is somewhat good news that we're hearing that maybe Cooper Kupp may not be placed on IR, meaning that they don't think he's going to be out for 4 weeks. So that's positive. But I think that's kind of the view on him. Isaiah Likely for Patty Fry. I have Kincaid. I don't think if you have Kincaid, I'm not dropping Isaiah Likely for another tight end. You don't need another tight end.
Yeah, but I'd probably rather have Isaiah Likely as a bench tight end over Patty Fry anyway.
Yeah. Dez, I need to start 2 wide receivers, Pittman, London, Pierce, Flowers, or Higgins. This is going to be London and Zay Flowers for me.
Yeah. Yep.
Dez, I need to start 2 running backs, Zamir White, Kyren Williams, or Charbonnet. If Kenneth Walker is out, I am playing Kyren Williams and Zach Charbonnet. if Kenneth Walker were somehow play this week, I would go Zamir White probably.
Yeah.
Sean, I traded Jamar Chase for AJ Brown before it was announced he was out a couple weeks ago. It's still a good move.
As long as he comes back and he's fine, then yes. But hammies are notoriously difficult injuries to predict, have a high like reoccurrence rate as well. So that, I mean, unfortunately, just not really gonna know the answer to that until the end of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the worst part about it came in like during practice. Like it wasn't like a game or something like that. It just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Dwayne, Watson, Higgins, and White for CMC and Kyler Murray. I have Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
You the CMC side all day.
Yep.
White running through Swiss cheese defense this week. Yeah, hopefully. It's just Zamir White has looked dreadful so far. Start the year. Really hate to see it. Daniel, Ayuk for Godwin. I would rather probably have the Ayuk side, but it is really close. I have to remember with Ayuk that he's, didn't get to practice. He didn't practice at all, really sat out everything. So he's just kind of getting worked up on the fly. So I think overall, and I know Godwin's been phenomenal. Godwin's somebody that I talked about, over the offseason, especially in, during training camp and everything, that they were really going to have a concerted effort getting him back in the slot and getting him far more involved. But I still think I would probably still lean Ayuk.
By a smidge. Yeah.
Best IR slot stashes for the waiver wires.
Oh, man. I would think the only one that comes to my mind is Jonathan Brooks, but I feel like he was drafted in a bunch of spots. I know we had a comment earlier.
Marshawn Lloyd?
I guess, but I don't know. Just worries me with him because of how much time he missed. He's a rookie. Now he's going to miss more time with this injury. He's been banged up this entire time. Came back for the game and then obviously left, heading IR. Yeah, not many IR guys I can think
Keaton
of.
Mitchell, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. That would be another one. Not many
there's just not a lot of IR guys, I guess, that have been most of them have been studs and nobody's dropping those players,
Right.
Should I pick up Quentin Johnson on the waivers? It really depends on who you drop. Oh, someone dropped Pickens. Do I use number 3 claim to grab him? Yes. If somebody dropped George Pickens, yes, I'm picking him up. Can you pick up Quentin Johnson? Yes, but just keep in mind that this team is still going to be really low pace, low pass volume. The team only wants to run the ball, so that's the only concern with him. But I still think he's worth at least a speculative ad. Anime, a lot of flex options this week. Wait, did we already get this one? No. Want to start Pittman, Tank Dell, Najee. This is going to be Tank Dell.
Yep.
Shakir or Xavier Worthy, PPR flex spot. It's going to be Xavier Worthy for me.
Yeah, I do like Shakir this week, but this does not have a very high ceiling, so I would go Worthy.
Is it worth stashing Geno if I already have Josh Allen? I'm in a deep league. I think it depends on what type of league we're really talking about here, right? How deep are we talking? Is this a 16-team league or I don't really like stashing quarterbacks, but if this is a league where everybody has multiple quarterbacks and there's really hardly anything out there, fine. Yeah, I mean Geno looked phenomenal last week against the Patriots. I mean, looked incredible. So I don't mind him as a stash, but I don't. But if it's a normal 12-team league, I don't want to just hold Geno Smith.
Also depends who you're dropping too.
Yeah. I don't know if we saw this. Ashton trade in a 2-flex Jordan Mason and Shaheed for Garrett Wilson.
I would not. Mason is too valuable right now, and Shaheed is outproducing Wilson. I'm expecting that to balance out, but it's not going to be the difference of Mason.
Yeah, I think this was like a more of a short-term thing where Mason only had a couple weeks left, and you probably definitely would. But I don't know. I mean, Mason could end up being the starter for the next 4 or 5 weeks, and I don't know. I mean, he could single-handedly win you some games. And like I've said, it's just it has been a little bit frustrating with Garrett Wilson. I'll say that. Just because the offense has been not great so far. Trying to figure out where we were. I think I'm close. There, right here. Boo Yang, what's up? Miss you guys on the offseason. Welcome to have back in offseason. Yeah, happy to have you back, buddy. Hopefully things have went well in your world, and hopefully you play fantasy football and we win the championship. That's the goal. Should I pick up Quentin Johnson or Jawan Jennings? I would probably lean Quentin Johnson. I mean, Debo back will be back in a couple weeks, so.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it depends if you're looking for someone just like as a spot start. For a spot start, I think I would prefer Jennings. But if you're picking up someone that you're looking for the rest of the year, probably Quentin Johnson. But I'm not playing him this week and chasing that.
No, but their upcoming schedule, though, they're going to have to throw the ball more. I think the Texans, the Chiefs are definitely in there. I know that. I don't care about the other one, but might be the Saints. But Dwayne Higgins and Watson for Pittman. I have no. I'm not. No, I can't trade for Michael Pittman right now.
No, and I want Higgins the rest of the season.
Yeah, it hurts my soul. I'm such a. Well, I should say we are. This is a very friendly Michael Pittman show. Like, we've been on the Michael Pittman train for a really long time, but man, I just can't do it right now. Would you start Jennings over McLaurin, London, or Waddle this week? I think if I was going to, it would be over McLaurin.
Yeah.
But I still think I would lean McLaurin.
I would go Jennings over McLaurin.
Yeah. Start sit, quarterback. Kyler Murray, Mason, Ramondre, Justin Jefferson, Wilson, Garrett Wilson, McBride, and then flex Kenneth. I'm guessing, is that Kenneth Walker, I'm assuming?
Assuming.
So I don't think he plays, honestly. Yeah. And then on waivers, there's McLaurin, McConkey, Quentin, Eckler, Spears, Zeke. Thing is, I don't really think unless you drop your other quarterback, which I guess you could at this point. To be honest, if these are the type of players that are sitting on waivers, this is a really deep league. There's zero reason you need to have Derek Carr on your team.
Yeah, I would also drop Patty Fry, and I would pick up. I actually like picking up Eckler here. I think Eckler has looked solid.
Yeah, he hasn't looked bad. Yeah, and considering the running backs that you have here, I probably would look to go Eckler and maybe Spears. I know Spears this thing hasn't really turned out the way that we thought it would with 50-50 split, but I think moving forward, I think he'll still have some games where he still sees touches and stuff like that. McConkey, Christian Watson, or Cortland Sutton, man. If Jordan Love plays, I would go Christian Watson. If Jordan Love doesn't play, I would go Cortland Sutton.
And I would go McConkey.
CB420, I traded Murray, Adams, and Charbonnet for McCaffrey, Jacobs, Carr, and Lazard. Good trade.
Probably went the Murray side. Murray and Adams here.
Yeah. Because like I said, I mean, CMC is definitely going to be back at some point, but it's hard to have somebody you're trading for somebody and then just have to sit there and sit him on the bench for the next 4 or 5 weeks. It's the same thing I've said. Like, if you're trading for him, like, I would rather have done it later in the year because then it's like, okay, like, because right now at whatever you are, 1-0 or 1-1, 0-2, 2-0, whatever, like, it's still not great enough. And that is you just gave up quite a bit. And then I definitely would have taken Kyler Murray over Derek Carr. Like, it's not even close. Lazard shouldn't even have been in the trade, my mind. I kind of saw him fall back to earth, right? Last week after the kind of fluky performance he had that 1 week. Charbonnet, I get it. That's kind of a sell high candidate just because of the performance he had. And Jacobs, I think, is the good get here. It's just McCaffrey's going to be out for like another 4 or 5 games, so it's just tough. If you can get weather the storm, this could end up being a home run by the end of the year. But that's the only thing I would look at it. Raylan, I haven't had a Raylan random question in a while. Would you rather have the power to never get injured or the ability to be able to live without sleep?
Never get injured. I like sleep too much. The fuck am I going to do at 3, 4, 5 in the morning all the time?
Oh, I would definitely do the live without sleep.
Nah. Sleep's too awesome.
I don't even go to sleep because I have to, honestly. Yeah. I feel like I always and I hate, dude. I get so mad sometimes. Like if I fall asleep and like take a nap, I didn't mean to. It's so bad. I'm like, oh, it's wasted time, wasted part of my day over a nap.
Dude, love naps.
So
working from home, sometimes instead of eating lunch, I'll just go nap. Emmanuel, let's go. Good to see some of these faces coming back. Greetings to you, Emmanuel. Hope you're all doing well over there.
Yeah. Happy to see you back. As always, trade Cook for Jason and Zamir White. No. I still want the James Cook side.
Yeah.
I mean, because you people might be considering dropping Zamir White. If Zamir White doesn't produce this weekend, people are going to be dropping Zamir White. Anthony, would you guys play Pickens or Ladd when streaming Chargers defense or stream another? I would go Pickens.
Yep.
And then as far as streaming defenses are concerned, I mean, you're looking at the Raiders as probably the top for me, at least, or the Bucks. Those two were the most widely available before this week started, or before waivers ran, I should say, for most leagues. So it would be Bucks or Raiders. I think would be the top two. The Chargers are fine if you as another option there, though. I will say that they're definitely a top 10 defense or top 12 defense this week. Generation X, best kicker to run with this week out of McPherson, McLaughlin. It's going to be Group A. It's going to be hard pressed. It's going to be Group A or Santos. Both of those guys for me are going to be top 8 kickers for me this week. So it's going to be one of those two. But I would definitely lean Group A. He's my number one guy that I'd want to add. Brian Thomas, Tank Dell, or McTermott. It's Tank Dell.
Yep.
Mooney or Sutton in the flex. Anime junkie. This is going to be easy for me. This is Darnell Mooney.
Mooney.
Wheelie, trade Olave and Dobbins for Chase. Yes, I would do that.
Yeah.
Champagne, is the Raiders defense worth picking up with their yes, absolutely. Like I've said, their next 4 games are awesome. This week isn't as exciting now that they've put in Andy Dalton, but still, I'm not like Andy Dalton I'm afraid of. He's going to burn me. But, I mean, past this game, they get the Browns, who look not great on offense, and then Denver, Pittsburgh. And then now, honestly, depending on what the Rams look like, that could be another option for another week. But at least the next 4, really solid play. AJ, Alexander Madison, or Deonta Foreman. This is where we're at, and it's only week 2 or week 3. That's really hate to see it, but I'm going to go Alexander Madison.
Yeah.
So wild, the players we're talking about right now, stuff like that. But it's also at some of the same time. That's what I love about fantasy football as well. Anime junkie, Smitty or Godwin, wide receiver 2. Man,
Godwin for me by a hair.
I'm going to go Devonta Smith, but it's really close.
Yeah.
Rico, pick up Rome or Downs to drop Addison.
Maybe it was supposed to be Dunzi and it came up or down.
Oh, pick up Rome or Downs and drop Addison. I think, that's what we're okay. Yeah, I would drop Addison for Rome and Dunze, but
I would not.
AJ, I've decided. I have to decide which running back I'm going to invest in before my bro snags them both. So Madison or okay, that was the same one. I guess he just expanded on it. I would go Madison.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me if Foreman was just back to the bench this week.
Yeah. True Teller, start 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back, 2, and 1 super flex. So Godwin, Marvin Harrison, Worthy, Ingram. And then likely Charbonnet, Zamir White, Singletary, Jaden Reed. So the RB2 for me is going to be Charbonnet, assuming that Kenneth Walker is out. If Kenneth Walker were to play, I would then pivot to probably Devin Singletary, honestly. And then tight end, what do we have?
I would go White over Singletary. Jaden Daniels in a super flex for sure. Tight end, that decision might be made for you.
Yeah.
If not, if Ingram plays, I'm going Ingram. And then we need 2 wide receivers. Godwin and Ayuk.
I'm going to go Marvin Harrison and Ayuk. I think that's it on that one. And this is the rest of season. I see that right below it. James Conner or James Cook. It's going to be James Cook for me. Rest of season.
Cook, just because Connor he always misses time. So.
Good evening, chat. Good evening, Matt. Hope you're doing well.
Matt is in the chat.
Emeka, start 2 in a flex. Lamb, Devonta Smith, Drake London, Zay Flowers. So basically, what? Sit 1? Yeah.
Sitting London.
I'm going to sit Zay Flowers, but it is really close. I like all of these players this week, but I'm going to play. Because the reason I say that too is because I don't think the Chiefs, the Chiefs didn't do it last week either with Trey McDuffie. Like, he didn't shadow Jamar Chase. And so I don't think he's going to be shadowing Drake London. So I would, yeah, that's what I would do. Sorry. It's so close because there's a party that wants to say, okay, maybe it's not a bad idea to sit Drake London or Zay Flowers, but especially in that game, because then that game looks like it could be really high scoring too. Drop Jared Goff or Geno. I have Baker. No, I think I would hold. Well,
yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Sean, who to start? 2 wide receivers, 2 flex. Chase, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison, Shaheed, Flowers, Ridley. So Chase is a lock. I'm going to go Marvin Harrison Jr., Shaheed, and Flowers.
Yep.
Would you do Zamir White and Shaheed for Garrett Wilson?
I think we already got this one, right?
Oh, well, we didn't. I wouldn't.
Didn't Ashton give us the...
Or no, wait. Excuse me.
Never mind. That was Mason and Shaheed.
I would, yes. I would do that. If you could trade Zamir White and Shaheed for Garrett Wilson, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I rephrase that. Matt, 10-team full PPR. Anthony Richardson, Stevenson, Lamb, Ayuk, Laporta, London. And then bench is A.J. Brown, Worthy, Brian Thomas, Jalen Warren, Tajay Spears, Rico Dowdle, Brooks, and IR. Would you package together to upgrade at running back? So what we have Stevenson. I think he has to have another. Am I not? When you have another running back?
Warren Spears, Dowdle.
Yeah, I was just reading this. I guess like a starting lineup would be built, but just because he said bench and then
Yeah.
only one running back. So I don't know if we're missing one. If we're not, the thing is though,
I don't
like
want to
wide
take away
receiver.
from. I was gonna say I don't want to take away from the starting lineup. So I feel like if you like package, let's say like a Brian Thomas and like a Dowdle, like your upgrade is probably just like opening up a bench spot there. You know what I mean? You're not going to get up to another level to like where you're feeling better about that RB2 spot.
Yeah, I mean your position of strength is definitely wide receiver with Lamb, Ayuk, Drake London, AJ Brown. I mean that is, and you're only able to start. I'm guessing just the way you're listing this, you can only start 2 wide receivers and then 1 in the flex. So like then you have enough here with the other pieces you have. Like at that point, you're probably trying to go after like Brian Robinson. Somebody that I like. Brian Robinson's definitely somebody I think you'd feel really comfortable with starting in there as your RB2. Like you're like I'm not trying to go headhunt for a top 10, top 8 running back, right? I just don't think that is in the something that you're gonna need to do. But Brian Robinson, I think, could finish the top 15 running back this year, and I don't think it would cost you as much to go get him.
Yeah, I just hope London pops off and maybe you can send London for somebody. But
Yeah.
that's about it.
Anime Godwin or Olave in the flex. This is going to be Olave.
Olave.
Walito, 2024 boys. The year you start Jawan Jennings over Terry McLaurin. Yeah, it's just
The year of our savior.
first and Jennings, as 90s fans call him. Two hype cats. Good evening, gentlemen. Great show. 12-man half-point PPR double flex. Starting Jalen Hurts, Gibbs, Mason, Garrett Wilson, Devonta, Hunter Henry, who to flex, Aaron Jones, Chase Brown, Higgins, Lockett, or DeAndre Hopkins. If T. Higgins plays, I would go with T. Higgins.
Yeah, if not Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones probably ends up playing.
Oh. League rules are max 4 running backs, so that's why I have Clark. That's right. I don't know why I don't know that. Like I know that because I know you. I think you post. I think you're on our. I think he's on our Discord. Pretty sure, right? Pretty sure he is. I think we've got a question
So.
or not. Yeah, unless there's another person that has a league where you can only have 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers.
Yeah.
I think I was skipped. I don't think did we get his question? I remember. I thought we hit it.
No, it's probably just because we're 20 minutes behind on.
No. It was Alexander Madsen or Johnson Foreman.
Yeah, we answered it.
Oh.
And AJ was worried about his brother picking up both, right? It was Madison. We're behind on. I think this is AJ's first rodeo.
Well, we're not that far behind now. Okay, we're getting caught up. The hard part about this is always like I don't want to just be like one quick word and then just move on. Like once and it makes it tough. But anyways, Jones and Higgins seem obvious just considering health all Sunday games. Yeah.
Yep.
Wilson, Cooper, London, or DeMarcus Robinson. Pick 2. So it's gonna be Garrett Wilson and Drake London for me.
Yeah.
Gino or Sam Darnold.
Oh
Man, I'm gonna go Sam Darnold.
I go Gino. Sorry, Denzel.
It just worries me with game script and how this game is probably going to flow. It's also a home matchup. Miami with Skylar Thompson. Like it feels like a kind of a gross. Like I don't think you're going to see Seattle really have to need to throw the ball a lot. Where the other game is Minnesota and the Texans. I just think you could see a lot more offense there. Generation, I have 2 trades sitting in my inbox. I received Jefferson and Ford for CD, and then I received Jamar for Barkley. My other running backs are Cook, Mason, and Connor. Wide receivers are Amari Moore, Adams, Sutton, McConkey. So I guess first, would you trade Jefferson and Ford for CD Lamb?
I would take the Jefferson side.
So that's what he'd be getting. Yeah, he'd be getting Jefferson and Ford for CD. And then he would receive Jamar for Barkley.
I would keep Barkley.
And you'd have Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase at that point. Which is crazy enough to think because he already has Justin Jefferson and CD Lamb.
No, because he's sending away CD.
No, never mind. Yeah. Okay, no, I said that wrong then. So he has CD and Jamar Chase. Yeah, right now.
No, it would be sending away Barkley to get Jamar. So the only receiver he has right now is CD.
It's the way he's saying it. Okay, I didn't read that part. I just saw Jamar for Barkley. That's all I was reading. So he has CD Lamb and Barkley. Okay.
So do the first one, not the second.
I probably hold. I probably don't make any move, honestly.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I kind of get it with the running backs that he has. You know what I mean? But also, I think he said he had Jordan Mason. So at the same time, like I think you probably let him have another really solid game. And I think he could easily be flipped, especially go to the person who has CMC and see if you can really try to hold him over the barrel for him.
Yeah.
So start Cooper, Pittman, Ridley, Hopkins, Quentin Johnston, Myers, and Mooney. And drop Younghoe Koo for Group A.
Oh,
I'm not sure how many he's needing here.
Cooper and Ridley. If we need 2, if we need 3, I would throw in Mooney. Assuming we don't need more than 3. CB, let us know how many you need here.
I think I would go Cooper and I probably agree with you. Actually, no, more I think about it. Yeah, and then no, I'm probably holding Younghoe Koo in this scenario.
Just 2. 4
then,
for CB.
Yeah. Then I would go Cooper and Ridley, and then I would hold Younghoe Koo. So yeah, we agree on that one. Faked in. I got DJ Moore's side of the trade. DJ Moore, Brian Robinson, Laporta, and he gave up Alvin Kamara. As long as the Bears can figure out some sort of semblance of their passing game, then I think this is a win.
Yeah. You need a couple things to break here. But if those things break, that'll be a big win.
Like you essentially just sold involved. Yeah, you essentially just sold you bought low on DJ Moore and Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
Anime, Rice, Olave, or Garrett Wilson in the flex. Wide receivers 1 and 2 are Justin Jefferson and Chase. I think he's giving you to flex this, honestly. But
Yeah, it's coming in just a brag.
but this is Rashee Rice for me.
Yeah.
Over on Twitch, Waddle for Mark Andrews / Singletary. I mean, assuming you need a tight end, then yeah, I'm perfectly okay with doing that.
That's fine, yeah.
But if you don't need a tight end, I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't say that. Generations X, keep the Cowboys DSC or stream the Bucks. I am perfectly okay with streaming the Bucks.
Yep.
Eric, start 2, Superflex, Devontae Adams, Kyron, Anthony Richardson, London, Higgins. So the Superflex is going to be 100% Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, and then Kyron for me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Would this be a good trade in a 12-man standard PPR from Steen? Bijan, Rashee Rice,
PPR in there yourself.
Huh?
You threw a PPR in there yourself. There's no PPR. Just says
it's like saying great tight ends options in earlier. Because I just don't want there to be any standard.
Thanks for the great advice.
Yeah. So in a standard league, Bijan and Rashee Rice for Devontae Adams.
Getting Bijan and Rashid.
Yeah, as long as you're getting Bijan. Yes, all day.
All day.
I know this is a random. Why is everyone so surprised by Jordan Mason? This is what Shanahan does. He turns low-tier mid running backs into beasts. Examples: Matt Breida, Mostert, Coleman, Elijah Mitchell. I don't know if anybody's surprised. I wouldn't say. But
you're right. Yeah, that's what he does.
It's just his system works so well. We kind of see this with other teams as well. So he just continually turns the stuff out.
Except Joe Williams, who he reportedly stood on the table and banged the table for. That did not work out.
Yeah.
Or who's the guy that Robbie loved from Ohio State?
Trey Sermon.
Was it Sermon? Yeah.
I remember that too. Oh my God, he loved Trey Sermon.
Trey Sermon.
Champagne, Jason Sanders or Group A? It's gonna be Group A for me. I know it's also McLaughlin and Carlson in there, but it's gonna be Group A. Not Bill. Thinking about bitching Richardson for Geno this week and possibly next. Thoughts?
I understand it, but I couldn't do it.
Right. I mean, he's just a week removed against a also really good defense in the Texans, putting up 27 fantasy points, finishing as a QB4 on the week. I know it wasn't great this week against Green Bay on the road, but I'm still playing Anthony Richardson because of his rushing ceiling. Crazy question, but even if it's worth starting Jalen Waddle, if I got Smith and Jigba or Mooney,
I'd play JSN over Waddle.
I don't hate it. I'll be honest. Like, I just don't love playing this offense with Skylar Thompson.
Yep.
Joseph or Waddle or for Bijan, Los Pacheco. So need an RB2. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Nico are my receivers. I bet you I skipped over something. Waddle for Mark Andrews / Singletary. Is this an extension of that?
Yeah, it seems like this is a different trade, and Joseph's looking for an RB2. So basically Singletary or B-Rob.
If I could trade Waddle for Brian Robinson, I would do that, no problem.
Yeah, but I'd also look at if you need the tight end, Andrews and Singletary would be the way that I would go. If you don't need the tight end, B-Rob.
Would you trade Ridley and Javonte for Waddle and Gus? I would not.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you could regret that. Like, this was an option, like 5 or 6 weeks from now, if Tua is back and this offense is back to looking like it was. But Just a lot of risk there. Matt, thanks for the thorough response. Appreciate you, Matt. My starting lineup is set except for RB2, which is Warren/Hubbard for now. Sorry for confusion. I was
Kind of
also
figured that's
thinking
what it was.
of trading Brian Thomas and Dowdle for B-Rob. Again, I have no problem with doing that. I just really like what Brian Robinson's done. And really going back to what he did last year, because I mean he was really good last year too. We just don't really talk a lot about it. But like he was really solid last year and he's just doing it again this year. So I don't mind that at all. Doing Brian Thomas and Dowdle for Brian Robinson.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the ones we just threw together too, right? Wasn't that like a similar example of what we were thinking about?
Yeah,
So there we go. And I would go Warren over Hubbard.
agreed. Adrian just got Lamb for Kyron and Tank Dell. W trade. Yeah, I think it's a W trade.
I like that.
Jason over Dell this week. Dolphins nickel corner is really bad.
Sounds like William was listening to the wide receiver show.
Which way would you go?
I have Dell over JSN this week, with my only worry being Seattle getting up and then we just get 25 Zach Charbonnet carries. That's my if this were Tua, I could get down with that. But I would just be nervous that Seattle gets up and then just runs a rock.
The only other thing I'll say with this too is, as far as Tank Dell's side is concerned, is the Vikings run a ton of too high safety, and I was digging into some stuff today for DFS show tomorrow, and Tank Dell absolutely annihilated that last year, and so far this year, or really I should say last year. But obviously that was without Stephon Diggs and stuff like that. But his yards per route run and everything last year against too high safety was phenomenal. So that is a little nugget to keep in the back of your mind. And I would agree with what you said. Like, it worries me a little bit about this game and like how much is this game going to, really be pushed to do that. So, Dusto, I'm light on running backs and a J.K. Dobbins owner. Would you pick up one of his handcuffs, Gus or Vidal? Bucky's available as well. I would pick up Bucky Irving.
Bucky.
Because I Gus Edwards just feels like he's cooked, but I don't even know why he's on this roster. But Vidal, I don't know if he's going he was like the preseason, off season like darling of like this guy could be the guy, and then it didn't happen. So I think right now it's easily Bucky for me.
Yeah, Vidal would be the one that I would want though, just in a vacuum.
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that too. Nick, Shakir, Brian Thomas, Dell Worthy, Juwan Jennings, Zach Moss, please help with my wide receiver and flex starts. So wide receiver for me is going to be Tank Dell. And then in the flex, I'm going to go with, I think probably the right answer is Zach Moss, just with the matchup, is so good for him. But I also really want to say Brian Thomas, but
Dell and Moss.
Quentin, should I trade my second round pick, 2026 pick, and a third round pick for 2027 pick for Devontae Adams and early fourth round 2025 pick? I'm a contending team, and my wide receivers are Godwin, London, Amari, Olave, and Dobbs, and D-Rob.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that at all. And those picks are so far out that you have plenty of time to recoup them. So, like the 2027 third, like, to me, like, doesn't even factor into my brain, like, when I see this. So I don't mind that at all.
Any NCAA players to keep an eye on for next year?
Oh, it's going to be a really nice running back class. I agree with what Quentin said below with Tet McMillan from Arizona, Ashton Genty looking like a stud at Boise State. But it's going to depend on who we have come out. Obviously, TreVeyon Henderson I can't imagine he goes back for a 5th year, but he probably does have that COVID eligibility if he wanted to. But I would assume Henderson comes out. I would assume one of the Penn State running backs come out. Evan Stewart. I don't know. Isn't there someone in Mizzou? Can't think of his name.
Theo Weiss. Is that who you were talking about? Theo Weiss? I don't know. I was seeing somewhere that there's some mocks that are putting Theo Weiss, as in the first round of NFL drafts. I'm like, oh, that feels like a little
stop.
But Luther Burden is absolutely the number 1 wide receiver next year for Missouri. If you want to tune in, they play Vanderbilt this week. But I do think Theo Weiss is definitely going to be an NFL wide receiver. But he's not. I would be floored if he was a number 1. If he was like a wide receiver. If he was a first round wide receiver, I think he's like a 3rd round wide receiver probably. But yes, and Genty has been incredible.
Yeah.
Chargers or Bucks defense. This is Bucks defense. Larry, need 2 guys. ETN, Jacobs, Dobbins, Stevenson, Neighbors, Metcalf, PPR. Man, this team's... I can't even imagine having to decide between this every single week. Like, I'd really like to know who you're starting if these are... I'm going to go with Josh Jacobs and Malik Neighbors.
Man. Jacobs and Metcalf.
I don't know. I was thinking about changing I don't know. It's not that it's that I really like Ramondre as an option tomorrow, but it does worry me a little bit that the Giants are playing the Browns and the Browns defense is really good, and but at the same time, I think I'll stay there. So William out here, I didn't listen, but I'll go back. But then this is the best. Research is key. Absolutely love that response. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, William, that was basically it. I brought up JSN as a solid wide receiver 3 for this week, and brought up the Dolphins nickel corner and him being bad. So would appreciate it if you would go back and watch, but that was the crux.
Yeah. Anthony, Caleb or Goff? This is 100% Jared Goff.
Yeah.
And it's way too early to be giving up that many future picks. Lots of early injuries with more possibly to come. Can't be considered a contending team just yet.
Some dynasty leagues are really bad, and there are some where you could consider yourself a contending team this far out. If you get injuries, you get to trade them away and recoup some of those picks. It could be different if we were talking about 2025 seconds, but it was a 26 second and the 27 third. Plenty of time to recoup those.
Keeping all my first rounders, I haven't given all my picks.
See? Can even trade away one of those first rounders if Phil's so inclined, if injuries come up.
All right. Well, we made it to the end of all the comments. Almost 2.5 hours. Actually, by the time this is over, it'll be 2.5 hours. So appreciate everybody rocking with us. Really appreciate all the questions, everybody here watching. We'll be back again on Sunday morning to get you guys ready to go for the week, for this week, and get you all your questions. We should have a lot better answers. Just because we'll have all the injury concerns and all that stuff out of the way. I'll kind of have a much better idea of what's going on there. So we'll also be going live tomorrow night if you're into NFL DFS. Me, Ryan, and Maddie will be back again to answer all of that. So really appreciate everybody. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. We appreciate it. And we'll see you again very soon. Hopefully all tomorrow night for the waiver or for the DFS show. Because I always say, whether you play DFS or not, following DFS content can give you a pretty big edge on start sit stuff week to week because the amount of stuff you go into and stuff like that. So that being said, appreciate it. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.